Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
What's
here.
going on? Welcome to Girl Chat Sports again. We're back on Wednesday. Officially a Wednesday this time. I'm not slipping up like last week. But of course, today was the NHL expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken. Of course, you guys know this will be my number 2 team heading in. I definitely have some details and some videos to share that were sent to us from some people that were there at the draft. So
Oh,
we'll get
nice.
to that later because I definitely want to talk about that, about the expansion draft. There's a lot of hot topics too in sports right now. Of course, the Bucks have won. There's a few other things that have happened in the course of the last week. The Olympics are on their way. But tonight we actually have a great guest, a wrestler. So if you're watching right now, I need all those people that be in the Girl Chat Sports groups that are wrestling fans that always post the wrestling videos and captions. I need you to check in. I need you to share the video, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure that you are subscribed to us and that you share the links and share the content so that the rest of the people out there can get to know us and our guests. So without further ado, welcome Amber Rodriquez. Hello,
Hi.
Amber.
How are y'all?
Hi, Amber.
Good. Good. Love you. Love it. And y'all, I love it because I noticed that you're from, or originally from, born, or I guess born, I'm not sure about raised, but from Mobile, Alabama. And I think
I'm
that's where,
currently there.
oh, you are in Mobile. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. We have a friend that's from Mobile. I have a friend that's from Mobile, Alabama too, which is kind of interesting, but that's great. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here. We know it's a little later for you out there, but can you give us every time I hear about women in wrestling, I personally love it because we're all about women empowerment, women in all sports. But how do you get started in wrestling? Like, were you, most girls, sometimes in sports are like, yeah, I played baseball, softball, but there's not a whole lot still that are like, I grew up and I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, that was me. But yeah, so there's wrestling schools. Like that's a thing. Which I didn't even know until my brother, who's also a pro wrestler, Chuck Lennox, he found Gilbert's Pro Wrestling Academy. And I was like, I didn't even know that was like I thought you just go to WWE and that's it. Like so yeah, you find a wrestling school, a reputable wrestling school. You attend that, you graduate, then you start taking independent bookings or like freelance bookings in hopes of eventually getting I guess discovered and signed to one of the major companies such as WWE or AEW or Impact and so forth and so on.
Wow. That's so, how old were you when you thought, you know what, this is what I want to do? This is something I want to strive for. Like, was it like fairly recently? Was it when you were young? Do you remember like the first time you were watching wrestling and what inspired you to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I want to be in there?
So I want to say I was like 5. And my first wrestling memory was when Chris Jericho interrupted The Rock's promo on Monday Night Raw. And I was hooked. Like, because wrestling, it's like your combo of it's like your melting pot of like soap opera meets in-ring competition. Like you get that drama, you get that theater, you get like the actual athleticism. It's like a circus and a soap opera and like a rock show all melted in one, and it's just amazing.
I love it. Shout out to Eric, who is one of our WW or one of our wrestling fans who's always giving us all the content with wrestling. He's in the chat, so I want to welcome him. Appreciate everybody else that's in the chat as well. We appreciate those that are watching. So coming back to wrestling, when did you kind of get your breakout? When does it go from you're just going to a school or learning to actually now you're involved and you're being in these matches, like at a professional level?
So I started training when I was 15, 15 or 16. And a lot of places you can't even like start working. Like a lot of states, you can't legally take bookings until you're 18. So I had to wait a while. So it's really like that, how bad do you want it kind of thing. So that should just give you an idea of my dedication, like waiting around for years to even be able to take matches. In a lot of locations. But to answer your question, when I was 18, I had already been training for some time, so I was just chomping at the bit to finally get in front of a crowd. And Maryland Championship Wrestling, or MCW, is where I got my start. So I always give them credit for that. And then they're several other promotions that I went and cut my teeth, such as Pro Wrestling Syndicate at the time, or WXW. And then now I currently work with Elevate Pro out in Chalmette, Louisiana. And I can go on and on, but
It's an extensive resume. It's an extensive
yeah, it's an
resume.
extensive
Yeah.
resume.
Talk a little bit about, we've had some other fighters on before, kind of like your style, because I've noticed through some of your videos, some of your wrestling, I don't know what you guys call it, your costumes, your gear, your gear. Where do you get them? Do you help in styling those yourself? Do you make them? I know we've had some people that have made their own. I mean, what kind of brings your inspiration on what you bring out to become your character, I guess?
I get inspired anywhere from RuPaul's Drag Race to like Japanese wrestlers. Like, my inspiration comes from all over the place. I love drag queens because they are just so extra. Like, you know what I mean? I mean that in the most respectful and the best of ways. And so I was like, man, like when I come out, I want all eyes on me. Like, I want, to stand out from the rest. So I pull inspiration from all over, but lately I've been sketching some things out and coming up with different concepts. I'm actually working very closely with the lovely wife of Nyla Rose from AEW.
Nice.
She makes most of my gear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so, like I said, I get inspired from so many different areas of life, like not just from wrestling, from so many different things.
Awesome. What about as far as, I guess my thing when I think about wrestlers is always like a theme. There's a character they're playing. There's the person they are. And I've noticed that you've had a couple different nicknames. Wondering if those are more characters or nicknames. And then how do you go about in choosing or receiving it? Is it someone that's giving you this kind of like character, or are you kind of figuring out yourself?
So it's funny you asked that, because I'm actually rebranding myself. So not only a pro wrestler, I'm also an esthetician. And so I recently have started to kind of bring that into the ring and like mesh the two into this like mad scientist type of vibe. And shout out to one of my really good friends, Blizz. He's just such a great creative mind to pick in the wrestling business, and he's just been helping me bring this character to life. And it will debut on July 24th, this Saturday, at Elevate Pro in Chalmette, Louisiana. And so you get to kind of see what I do outside of the ring and bring it into the ring, but at a more elevated level. So I call myself the perfectly constructed woman now.
Nice.
Because and that came from me actually performing body contouring treatments on myself. And so I figured, why not, bring that into the ring and, give people unwanted beauty services.
I'm feeling like a Nip Tuck vibe. Do you remember that show Nip Tuck, where it had like different like lines and stuff on? Yeah, interesting. Well, we'll definitely want to see this. But hang on, go back for a second, because you did your own body contouring.
Yes. So I do ultrasonic cavitation treatments. I use radio frequency. I'm such a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Like, I can go on for days, but yeah, and I also have clients, that are regulars, and so I was like, yeah, why don't I start looking at my opponents as my clients?
Listen, you might find clients out here. We'll see. It's a big game out there. It's definitely a big game for that. So that's interesting. We all noticed that, you took some time off. It looks like maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
4 years.
And went and decided to go into the military. Are you still currently active in the military, or what made you make that change from leaving wrestling to doing, to joining the military? And then obviously, if you are still there, continuing on, what's the thought behind that, or what made you get out of wrestling for a time period?
So I had suffered from very intense depression at one point in my life. I had been through some traumatic experiences. I don't mean to bring the vibe down, but I'll just leave it at that. I went through some very traumatic experiences. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. So I took a step back and I wanted to go find myself. I wanted to go do something that had absolutely nothing to do with what I was used to. And that's what the military did, or still does for me, actually. Just it kind of gives me an escape from an escape, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something different, something new, something I'm very proud of. It's a very rewarding career. And I'm thankful that I made that decision at that part of my life. And that really goes to my dad. He's been my rock, even through all of that. And it was his suggestion, actually, because he had served. He was in the army, and actually wear his old army boots. My dad's 81, so he was back in the army, like.
I love that.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was his suggestion. He's like, "Why don't you go do this? Like, take a step back, like, go find yourself." And so I'm sure this is your next question, but what brought me back to the ring was I had my daughter in 2016, and it's like I just had this feeling like, why should these people who wronged me, take my dreams from me? Like, why can't I just take my power back, and do what I love to do, and show her, like, hey, I went through some really crappy things, but I came back from it, and you can have it all. You can be a mom, you can be a pro wrestler, you can be in the military, you can do whatever you want to do. And so I just pride myself on setting that example for her. So in 2019 is when I started, like, actually making that commitment to that, and I started training again. And then in 2020, I started taking bookings again, and I guess the rest is history.
Wow. First of all, there's never a downer for the show, because I think, as we know in sports, especially over the last couple of years during COVID and pandemic, mental health is very important for all athletes and all people. And getting help, or finding your own way and getting help, is very important. So we applaud you in being able to notice it and be able to make that change with the help. And of course, girl dads are awesome. So it's great that you have one in your corner too. So we're happy that, you've come full circle from that. And we hope that, even though we know mental health doesn't ever just go away right away, that you are able to have a better handle on this. So that's great. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
But talk about the match that you got coming up this weekend then. So who are you fighting, and what are you expecting from the fight?
So this is an open challenge. I currently hold the Elevate Pro Women's Championship, and I'm issuing out an open challenge, so you never know who's going to answer it, who's going to come through that curtain. But I do plan to fully embrace this new persona of mine, and I'm also willing to fix whoever comes through the curtain.
Open challenge. And so I noticed on some of the things I read about before too, on some of your competitions or matches, is there's a 3-way, and maybe I haven't watched enough of wrestling, because I know that there was always like tag teams and then there's one-on-one, but I didn't quite grasp what a 3-way was, because there was a lot of mention of that within your guys, with some of your matches.
Yeah, I've been in a few of those. So basically it's 3 people in a match, but you have 2 different types. You have an elimination style, which is kind of self-explanatory. Somebody gets pinned, they're eliminated, and the match goes on until we're down to 1. And then you have one fall, which is, when someone gets pinned, like, that's it. The person who pinned them wins the match. So yeah, they're interesting, but I definitely prefer singles competition.
Gotcha. Wow. What about so you had a child 2 years ago. She's 2 now, or you said 2016?
No,
she's 5 or 3. Okay.
She'll be 4 next month.
So how is it about being a mom, being in competitive sports? I mean, I think we've seen some different examples out there. I know there's a lot of women that are into the Olympics now that have a child, but I don't think that a lot of men realize what it takes to really be successful, not only within your job as a parent, but also within your job in performing, or in this case, in the matches in the ring. How much of it is, how much of that is hard for you, or do you have to deal with, or what makes it different for you?
It's definitely a lot to manage. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. And then I train throughout the week, and then I work my military job Monday through Friday, and then Friday I get off one job and I'm on the road, and then I also have clients sprinkled in throughout all that. So it's a lot but I literally I have to make time for my baby, even if it's leaving practice a little early or moving around some of my appointments or whatever, just to get home to read her bedtime story. I have to make that time for her. I make it a point. I've even brought her to a couple shows. She's starting to get into wrestling a little bit now.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I just, I keep myself going. She keeps me going, and I just keep telling myself everything I do is for her, but at the same time I have to actually, make sure I'm incorporating her and including her in what I do. So
Wow. That's great. Does she quite understand what you do, or does she think you're just kind of playing, or does she think does she have any idea of what's going on really?
she's starting to get it. She's
Yeah.
starting to actually watch the pay-per-views, and she actually watches wrestling with me sometimes now, whereas
Mhm.
before she was just not into it at all, and she didn't really get it. But she's really starting to actually become a fan now, so it's
Aw.
fun to see, especially when she tries to do something on me.
She's trying to practice moves in the living room.
Yeah, she tries to jump off the couch onto me, and I'm like, no.
That's hilarious. Speaking of moves, I know you have a few signature moves it looked like that you have on there. Um, will those be changing along with your persona, or do you
Yes.
stick pretty? Oh, they will be. Okay. So there
Hmm.
should be some new things out there we'll get to see on this. So you got a match this Saturday. Do you have something else in the future besides that, or what else do you have in the future that you're looking forward to?
I'm actually booked every weekend up until October.
Wow.
So I'll be pretty much booked, busy, and blessed every weekend up until October. So yeah, there's actually Sabotage Wrestling. I'll be debuting at on August 7th. I'll be making my way back to Mission Pro Wrestling in September. Backtracking to August 28th, I'll be at the Booker T World Gym Arena for Reality of Wrestling meets Renegade Wrestling Revolution. That's another big deal. So these are just some highlights.
That's great.
But yeah, every weekend till October, I'll be somewhere different.
Wow. There is a question from one of the listeners right now. It's what has been the most challenging part of wrestling for you?
Mm, that's a good question. Just not falling back into that mental state that drove me out
Mm-hmm.
before. Just keeping myself grounded, keeping myself mentally healthy. In therapy, I'm also very big on my faith, and church and everything. So yeah, just keeping myself mentally healthy.
That's good. Mo, you got anything? You good?
I got nothing. I mean, she's amazing.
She's taking it all in.
Well,
taking it all in.
You asked great questions. Some of the things that I had on my mind. You also had some signature moves that were some clever names. Tequila Sunrise and the Push-Up Face Buster. Can you describe any of those to give us kind of a look of what that looks like?
Yeah, so I
think of Tequila Sunrise, I'm thinking of a drink. You made it a signature move and a combo, so I need to know.
So yeah, the Tequila Sunrise, that was originally a finisher by a wrestler named Conan. But I kind of took it and made it my own and modified it. And at the time, I went by the moniker of the Evil Queen, so I actually called it the Poisoned Apple. But it was like a modified version of his, and that's another thing I love about wrestling, just taking things from someone that inspired you or somebody you may have grown up watching and just kind of paying homage to them, and at the same time putting your own twist on it.
Okay. And then we have another question on the chat too. In a dream match, who would you like to challenge?
Jazz.
Jazz. Okay. And why?
I grew up watching her, and representation is so important because, you know, seeing her get the opportunities that she had, you know, being a Black woman, like, or at the time, you know, a Black girl, like, it was just amazing to see. And it definitely gives you that feeling of like, oh man, I can do this too one day, you know? So I would just love to share a ring with a legend like her.
All right. Very cool.
Well, he thought that was a good one,
Yes.
and that Jazz is definitely amazing. So that's
Yes,
great.
she is.
There was another question, but I'm not sure what is meant by it. It says Trinisha Biggers was a wrestler. She's fighting. Get her daughters had to be off topic. I'm not sure. If you can further explain that one, Eric, we'd love to know, but we appreciate the comments and details. So what is your plan for wrestling? What would you like? What's your goal? I mean, you know, obviously maybe getting into the WWE or whatnot, but do you have a plan in action? What's your goal in getting there? And then we'll talk about your business after in a little bit as well.
Yeah, obviously, you know, for a lot of us on the independents, that's like the promised land. You know, so always fighting to get there, always working to stand out, even if it's repackaging myself, you know what I mean, and just kind of switching it up, and, you know, people noticing, you know, me making a change, and, you know, embracing something new, and it's something fresh, it's something that no one's done before, because that's always the key, is you want to stand out from everyone else. So yeah, the end goal for me would be to be signed for a major company, whether it be like WWE or AEW, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I was a part of the 2020 all women's tryout. So, you know, that kind of pushed me to, you know, keep going. It's like, okay, like it gives you that feeling of like, I'm close, you know? So, just keep doing what I'm doing. You know, whether it be coming out with fresh ideas or whatever, but just, you know, keep getting my reps in, getting all these bookings.
Yeah, keep busy is one of them. That's for sure. That's great.
And speaking of which, we have a question from Arlington. Shout out Arlington, big time wrestler too.
In the Zone Network in the house.
In the Zone Network, yes. He's asking, is there a female wrestler that you're following on the major promotions currently?
Yeah, I follow a lot of them. I'm a huge fan of Bianca Belair. I think she's great. She's extremely athletic, and yeah, so there's a lot of them. Nyla Rose, again, that's my best friend. We kind of came up together, and she's in AEW now doing her thing. I'm so proud of her.
Nice.
So yeah, there's a lot of, I can go on for days about that too, but I keep up with it, yeah.
So speaking about women in wrestling, like how far, I mean, obviously it's come a lot farther since when I was young, because it was like, there was nobody. You had Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage as like wives that were just kind of trophies around. What has it been like for you being part of it as it's getting bigger? And what do you hope to see in the future from women in wrestling?
I mean, we've come a long way from the bra and panties matches and pillow fights and stuff like that. So we've definitely come a long way. We've shown that we can go just as hard, if not harder, than the guys. Because I've definitely seen some shows where the women's match was the best match on the card. You know, and then now companies are starting to do more than just one women's match on the card, you know. Even at WrestleMania, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, you know, to see two Black women main event a pay-per-view is just, let alone WrestleMania, it's just like amazing, you know. So we've definitely come a long way. I do feel that there is room to grow backstage. I feel like we can have more female agents, more female producers, more female creative writers, more female coaches. So I feel like there's still some room to grow there, but as far as like on screen, we've definitely come a long way, and it's only up from here.
Yeah, that's a little surprising to hear that there's not maybe as many as maybe we would think, as far as in women in the background, as far as agents or promotions or, you know, getting that aspect. That's something to think. I never really thought about that. So that's
I didn't think
pretty
about that
interesting.
either.
Yeah. Maybe we can work with some of these ladies that are representing these guys and other things to start working on the wrestlers out there. That'd be amazing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they need to. They need to. I guess we can switch a little bit. to your side, your job now your business. So what got you into being and thinking, you know what, I think I'm gonna get my esthetician license. You know what, I think I'm gonna start dibbling and dabbling and working on women's bodies or men's bodies for that matter. But curious to know kind of what started that after, was it during wrestling? Was it after, during your break, in the middle?
It was about 2 years ago that the thought even crossed my mind. Because I've always been, I don't want to say obsessed, but just fascinated with like not only aesthetics, but even cosmetic surgery. And so, I always thought that aesthetics was just, facials and stuff. I didn't realize that there are also non-invasive procedures that give you similar, if not the same or better results. So that's when I kind of started dabbling in it. And then just recently, this past year and, a little bit in 2020, is when I really started to, dive in, get certifications. I'm taking my state board soon. But I currently hold, I think I'm up to 7 certifications now. And just really honing my craft and learning my craft. And I love the feeling that people have when they get the results they want. I love working on moms, and feeling like, after you had a baby, that feeling of like you're not yourself anymore. So I just love restoring that, or helping them to, restore that feeling. And even men too, you got the whole dad bod thing going on. So I just love helping people feel confident. Like it's an amazing feeling, when, they get off your table and they thank you, and like, it's an amazing feeling. And then recently me and my sister took it a step further, because she would make this lip scrub and she'd like make it herself with like all natural stuff. And I was like, you should sell this. And then I'm like, you know what? I can probably make a body scrub. And she's like, well, I can also make a highlighter. And I'm like, well, I can make a body butter. And I'm like, and next thing you know, Ashley Renee Beauty Company.
Love it.
That's
right. So, so that's how that came about. And I don't know, man. God is good.
That's amazing. It's great to have good blessings, and you guys are doing, and you're still so young too. So you have like still a whole, career, whether it be in wrestling for as long as you need to, or in your businesses. And that's amazing. We're happy to hear about all the success that you've had, and hopefully we'll be able to catch some of the replays of your guys's, of your match. If not, but is it online at all? Do you know, or is it just in person, or do we just kind of catch clips later on somewhere?
It'll be on Fight TV.
Okay.
Yeah, Elevate Pro Resurgence is the name of the episodic series. So yeah, it'll definitely be a replay.
Wonderful. And we do have one more question. Miss Bollandy, thanks for tuning in. Being a female wrestler, do you struggle with making sure your femininity is always on display for acceptance?
What does that mean? Like,
do you feel that you always need to?
Does your trait need to be more? I mean, you Miss Bollandy probably missed the first part of this segment when we were talking about your femininity, how you wanted to, your costuming and your gear is basically that of emulating those of extravagance in a drag queen kind of way. So I think your femininity is already on display, but do you feel like, I think what she's getting at is it ever challenged when you're inside your matches at times?
No,
with any of your counterparts or any of that?
Like I grew up watching, like I mentioned, jazz, but also like even I use Trish Stratus as an example, someone who, came from being like a fitness model, and she's like a beauty queen, but she'll tear you down, like, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. Like, I'm beautiful, but I got hands. Like, so I mean, you can still like have that femininity and, get down and dirty at the same time. So
sure.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard? I mean, not that this is a male dominated sport still, but it kind of is still a little bit as far as majority. as far, wrestling fans or just fans in general with social media, we've talked to other athletes before that, sometimes try to not get bogged down by the comments and the things that people leave for you. Has that been hard for you at all? And kind of dealing with, once you are out in the ring or people do get to know your name, they're finding you and targeting you with different, comments and posts and whatnot.
Oh, I don't even pay attention to that.
Good.
I can't. I can't pay attention to it. I'll drive myself crazy. So I just
Right.
choose to just block it out. And for a lot of people, I understand that's easier said than done. I know a lot of people, a lot of my close friends struggle with that, struggle with blocking those voices out. But you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, if they're not paying my bills, I don't pay them no mind.
That
Tell
part.
them. Tell
That
them.
part.
Tell them. Yes. Amber, we really appreciate you being here with us tonight. We're excited for the show. We're excited for your match on Saturday. But where can people find you, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, whichever you use more, your preference? And then also shout out your beauty site too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram at one Amber Rodriguez. They're both the same to make it easier for you. And you can follow my Facebook fan page at Amber Rodriguez. Also shop AshleyReneeBeauty.com. Go get some skincare products. We use completely natural, holistic ingredients such as grapeseed oil. There's hemp in some of our products. We have soothing bath salts and like all types of stuff to just get you luxury skincare at affordable prices.
That's
Very
what it's
good.
about. No, thank you so much. We'll look forward to your match, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk with you again soon after a little while and you've had a little more time on your belt, because I know you're busy for a while.
Yeah.
Continued
Thanks for having me.
success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. I love it. That's
Yeah,
cute.
she's so.
Sorry, I've had a hair I can feel like somewhere underneath my eyes driving me crazy. Anyways, yeah, so that was great. Shout out again to Amber Rodriquez, pro wrestler, entrepreneur. Make sure you check her out. We will be posting her links in the show, and we post it on all of our social media later, so you can reach out to her, follow her, and keep track of her fights. So there's been a lot going on, Mo, in sports.
Right.
We got some hot topics. Of course, we all know the Bucks won the championship yesterday. So congrats to the Bucks. Congrats to Giannis. How do you feel? Were you expecting anything more? I don't know if you caught the game. I know you were at work, but I don't know.
I picked the Bucks to win, so
yeah,
that was just kind of my thing anyway.
Yeah, it was kind of.
I was hoping for Chris Paul to win. I was hoping to see that. 36 years of age, 18 years in the league. You would like to see that. But on paper, those Bucks are just nice, and it shows. And I had Drew Holiday on my fantasy for my basketball fantasy, and he never disappointed. So I knew eventually when the series was getting to catch up, that they would get their momentum and get what they were looking for. They had a great strategy going into the series of seeing what Phoenix can do. And what you have to understand with Phoenix is they pushed so hard through every single team that they met up with just to get to where they are.
And the injuries off and on.
Injuries off and on. And know that they battled teams with injuries and key players missing. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if they would have got out of the first round against the Lakers, a healthy Lakers team, in my opinion. Possibly, but I don't know. I mean, we're missing Jamal Murray on the West Coast. There was no DeMar DeRozan. You didn't have Kawhi Leonard. And I know that's nor here nor there, and they got where they are, and big ups to doing that. But at the same time, you had a team that was fully healthy, fully functional, a team of bigs. And I stress to people all the time, bigs win championships, not small ball anymore. That just brought it, when people all thought Phoenix was going to be in 4, all of those kind of predictions. Mm-hmm. And you love to see it because you want the story to be told that way. But realistically, it's not there. And shout out to my dad, who had big winnings from my mom, because they place bets every day on the series, and he got his
Threets family balling out.
Sorry, Paul, call you out that you had to lose some money. She's like, I had to pay your dad his money. I was like, yeah, because he knew, he saw it on paper. He knew we would talk about it, and I would like to have that beacon of hope of Phoenix, but I just knew that. And regular season Phoenix was phenomenal. Don't get it twisted. I mean, they were doing really, really great.
I
But
just
when
think,
we always have
they got
postseason.
winded. I mean, after a while, you can't play that
Game
hard
4
every single
showed
night.
it, or
Yeah,
game 5 it was. They got. I mean, they were spent. You could tell they were
Yeah.
spent. I mean, the energy they had given everything they had, and not to mention, it wasn't like there were blowouts in these series games they were playing with other teams before getting here. They were very close games, so they gave it their all. And big ups to Monty Williams. I think it was a very class act of him to go into the locker room for the
For
Bucks. I know how hard that had to have been to go in and congratulate a team. That well deserved it, and now you've got 3 Antetokounmpo brothers with championships,
all with
even a Laker,
rings.
all with rings. And so it's a great
Jeez.
story.
That's a great family story.
Great family story. Drew Holiday's married to a woman that's also a champion herself. So
Soccer,
for both of them to have
yeah.
win,
Yeah.
So for both of them to be champs is an awesome feat, and we'll see what the future holds with these Bucks. But
Man, and that
teams are coming back
Giannis,
healthy,
I mean, you get it, you get 50 points and 14 rebounds, and then you go to Chick-fil-A the next day in the drive-thru with both trophies, and you order a 50-piece chicken
and you got
nugget.
fans wanting to touch your trophy and fans talking to you at the drive-up and all
But
that.
what's crazy,
cool.
the lady at the drive-thru, the first lady that's taking his order didn't even know who it was. She was just kind of like,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, there's people that are not into, they don't know.
I mean, I get it, but if you live in the city, you've got to see it on the news at some point. Like, you got to think, you
definitely do. But we live in a city where people don't even pay attention to our aces, so they wouldn't know. So again, you've got people. I mean, big metropolitan areas, it's just not their focus. It's funny because that's how always the celebrities pop up on the unassuming. It's the same time, like for instance, when Dr. J came in Nordstrom in one of our sales, so she didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
and was saying, "Sign here, Julius," and I'm like, "Julius, really? Okay." So
you're like, you don't know who that?
So,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. So
I know how it is.
It's always the luck of the thing.
I think my favorite part throughout the interviews and the post stuff in regards to the championship was this take they had interviewing these two guys.
How much champagne have each of you consumed?
I just feel like that's going to be endless memes. Like when you and your bestie are at, brunch for all you can drink mimosas or something. Like that's just going to be one of those memes that's never going to go away. Those guys were definitely having a great time. And the whole team, I mean, it's not to mention there were 65,000 people outside in Deer Park, which is the outside of the stadium.
Deer Park Festival, which was great.
Yeah. And I can only imagine what Milwaukee's testing positivity rate might be in the next couple of weeks. But let them be interesting. Let them have that championship. Hopefully, most people there were vaccinated, so at least they won't get too sick. But that's
I hope.
That's a lot of people.
Local fans. Shout out to Sherm, who's been a Bucks fan for as long as I can remember.
Yes,
even in the high school days. We
and
never
Cicero.
Understood it. And my boy Steve, who's from Milwaukee, so that's a given.
Yeah.
But Sherm living in Vegas and being that fan even through high school, we're like, okay, you're not a Lakers fan.
Why?
You're not like we never understood it. We understand it now, but that was his team, and so finally, from 1971, they have a championship.
That's big time. That's big time.
It's a great accomplishment. Not mad at anything, and it gave for an exciting series. It was something different.
Yeah, it definitely was a good series.
It was. So.
And it was even back and forth throughout that third, fourth quarter. Like it was a good game up until the last few minutes. Game 5 and 6, it was like the last couple minutes just sealed the deal. But it was worth it.
The last tail end of it. I wanted to watch the replay, but I was just too exhausted. But I got what I wanted. So
yeah, but it was good. And of course, Aaron Rodgers, as a minority owner of the Bucks, gets an NBA championship underneath his belt. So
that's dope.
Speaking of Aaron,
that contract, but he's gonna get him a ring.
I was surprised to hear that he had been offered to be the highest paid quarterback and he turned it down this offseason.
He wants out.
Ooh.
He doesn't want to be there. Let this man figure out where he wants to go.
I mean, that's highest paid. I mean, I guess, hey, you want out. But I mean, at this point, I guess he doesn't need them. I mean, the money must not be that important at this point. But
he wants to go. I mean, at this point, it's like
he's done.
You tell somebody's done when that's on the table, and you still want out.
Yeah,
you still don't accept it. It's crazy.
It's
Shout
a
out
lot.
to my Dodgers last night. We've been going up in this. We've got a game tonight actually against the Giants, 3-game series, and we are
this
now
is a battle for you guys.
Yes, it is, because if we win this match, then we're not the one game behind them, and we'll have the best record in the league. Right now we're sitting on
Oh,
59 with the San Francisco Giants. I don't know what the score is because the game started at 7:15. It's
okay.
not airing on TV, but I'm gonna have to check it out and see. But yeah, this is monumental. And shout out to my boy Big Will Smith on that 3-run homer. That was epic at the end because that clinched our win in Dodger Stadium. So hopefully these boys
Man.
in blue can do it tonight. I mean, I'm pulling for these guys. I really, really would love to see a back-to-back championship, even though I get people hitting me up saying it's not realistic, Mo. You're probably not gonna see your Dodgers again. You never know. You never know. It's baseball, but you don't know. We need this beacon of hope because we lost Trevor Bauer to some crazy, heinous circumstances that are no
Yeah.
fault to the Dodgers,
Write
but
him
only to
off. Write him
himself.
off.
So he's no longer a Dodger. But right now, I'm looking at the score. It's 1-1 at the end of the second inning. So we're tied up right now. But yeah, let's get it going, boys in blue.
Shout out to Tasha. She tuned in. We know she's our resident Astros fan here.
Oh,
So,
of course. Yeah. And your Astros are at the bottom of the 7th against these Cleveland Indians. You guys should be able to beat that Tribe, though. It's only 4-5. It's early. At 3 outs right now.
So my Mariners are a hefty over 500 still. We're like
Good.
at 537. We lost today, but they had won I think the 7 out of the last 9 games. Like these young guys are really putting on a show. And I don't think I've ever gone into August ever since probably 2001, 2. We've been over 500. So I'm hoping that there's a chance this year that there'll be some kind of playoff berth that hasn't happened since, in over 20 years. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Tosh said, bang, bang. Yeah.
She said, no. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Otani signs a deal with Fanatics. They are now the exclusive distributor of all his memorabilia.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, that's what you get when you don't speak English. You get big contracts. I'm so sick of people in that. Yeah, I know.
He's well-deserved. Otani needs that.
Oh, you're gonna see my Mariners? Ooh, nice. Tasha's hitting up some baseball games. Man,
good.
let us know.
God,
we need
to get to a Dodgers game so badly.
come find you.
Shut us down with the mask thing. I guess we can wear it outdoors. Go outdoors without it, but you have to wear it out there, I think. Too.
So yeah, Cali has officially, COVID cases are rising. If it hasn't been evident in any other place, it's the Olympics. A lot of players and athletes have been testing positive for COVID. We already knew about Bradley Beal that couldn't join. And who was
the Olympic team?
Yeah.
And then you got 4 other players in the Olympics that have tested positive that can't play a skateboarder or taekwondo person.
Yeah, and Katie Lou Samuelson from Seattle Storm, who was on the 3-on-3 team with Kelsey Plum, now got replaced by Jackie Young because she was in COVID safety protocols. So at this point, and I posed the question in the chat or in the group a couple days ago, is like, when do you just say, okay, we've had too much? Because at some point, if you're going to keep on replacing players, at some point it's going to be too late to replace them because they're still across in a different country, or there's alternates. And then the alternates for gymnastics even were getting testing positive for COVID. So then you have no one to fall back on. You're either going to have to forfeit or, remove yourself from the competition. But how is that any good if you're then going against people that really maybe shouldn't have been there, or the teams have forfeited?
I don't know. They keep this thing rolling, and then not to mention you got people in the Tokyo Village testing positive, and then what's with the cardboard beds? Like the whole thing is just a fiasco.
What they call them? That's they couldn't have. They were to not have sex beds.
Yeah, that's what they said. But one of the Olympic gymnasts jumped on the cardboard bed, and it actually.
But he's like what, $100, like $120 maybe at the most. Like,
well, he was able to jump on it.
I mean, I'm wondering, are the NBA players on there? Are the shot put people on those beds? Like, you're talking about some weight to put on these cardboard beds. I'm just curious to know if these are holding up. What's the weight limit?
I'm curious, but I'm not that curious because I'm just turned off at the fact that they would even do that. Like, why?
I mean, I also think maybe because of a disinfecting purpose where they can end up probably recycle. Japan's very big on recycling and being clean. So I'm sure that was an easy fix to just be able to dispose of all the beds. And because they said that they could break them down and they could recycle them with, super easy. But yeah, it does seem odd that your star athletes from all across the country are coming to sleep on cardboard. I don't know.
And I'm sure it's modified to not what we're seeing like in a cardboard box. I'm sure it's like something a little more elevated, but made with the cardboard materials.
It's a lot. Yeah, Kente. He said they need to just cancel the
I
Olympics,
feel the same way,
postpone
Kente.
to later
I
date.
agree.
Cardboard beds suck.
I agree.
I mean,
at this point, why even push for it? Let's just resume and try to find another locale. But this is the bid that they paid money for. This is the bid that they got. So I guess it's got to go through. But
I'm clueless.
their
But
bid came through, and it's
Sue Bird from the Seattle Storm, of course, we know her. She was selected as one of the 2 flag bearers for the Olympics ceremony. So that'll be cool for her. You know, I'm sure that's something to knock off her resume that she has yet to have done.
When's this woman going to be done? That's all I want to know.
She's the Tom Brady of women's basketball right now.
She really is. It's like,
you know, and she's just going to keep it going.
Keep adding to that.
Exactly.
List, that's great.
Speaking of Sue Bird, she was one of the Seattle sports stars, previous, former, current, whatever, that made announcements during the NHL expansion draft today, which is boop, 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 why I have my shirt on.
I heard Marshawn Lynch did too.
Marshawn Lynch, Bobby Wagner. First of all, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. So clearly we all know that some guys don't stay in shape after they've been a player for so long. And we've seen Gary before, a big 3 and whatnot, and out and around Las Vegas because he is a resident here. Please tell me why they couldn't get Sean a bigger size t-shirt.
How tight was it? Do you have a
Look
picture?
at it. I put it up.
Oh, yeah.
That was the shirt they gave Sean. So my question is,
I have so many things.
They don't got no triple X. They didn't have. I mean, that clearly is not a triple X. That's got to be an XL, maybe double XL tops. So
I say 4X at best, just to be comfortable and loose.
Something, because this is definitely nothing more than 2X. Like that's nothing more than a 2X.
That's not even 3. I don't think.
No. Oh no. Absolutely.
I think it is a 2X. Honestly.
It's hilarious, but you know, here's the deal. Shout out to Sportsnista. That is a lot of Sean Kemp in that shirt.
You said it. You said it.
Listen, that's the first thing that came to mind. I posted something about, you know, being, you know, obviously I'm a VGK fan because that's who made me a fan of the sport, but Seattle's always home. And so I'm going to definitely rep and support the Kraken as long as it's not against us. However, shout out to Kwan's mom, Rosalie, who is in a VGK sports group that I'm in. And so apparently Seattle comes to Vegas for the opener October 12th. And I'm all for seeing that game, but I can't root for Seattle when they play against VGK. But you know, there's some interesting. But so it started off as a cloudy day in Seattle. The clouds kind of cleared out, of course, just in time for the thing. But here's a video. Shout out to John Weeks, who was there. Our boy Weeksy in Seattle was there at the NFL expansion draft. Here's when Macklemore came out.
You guys ready? Yeah. I said, are you guys ready? Yeah. Me too, man. New chapter in the city. This is an amazing thing. I'm fired up. From the Ottawa Senators, the Seattle Kraken select Joey Decor.
Did you see the background there? Just that beautiful scenery, the space
really
needle,
nice.
the skyline.
It's beautiful.
It was just looking great. It was looking great. So we actually drafted two brothers with the last name Fleury. So there was a big joke that because they can't get our Fleury, the Golden Knights they had to draft two. Yeah, because if you didn't know about the NFL expansion draft, the Vegas Golden Knights were not part of it, so they didn't have to give up one of their players or have one of their players selected. So that was great. We did get a lot of young guys. I noticed. There's a few veterans, of course, too. But you know, the expansion draft was pretty cool. It's exciting to watch. So yeah, that was great. I'm trying to think of. I don't think I had anything else in here, picture-wise for Seattle. Oh yeah, I did.
I knew you did. I was waiting.
I know. Cami Granado, USA team hockey, women's hockey, great. I think she's had like a gold medal with them. She's the first female pro scout in NHL history.
Oh,
So she
nice.
works for the Kraken. She is the official first female pro scout in NHL history. So
That's great.
that was amazing to see. I actually had to hit up Weeks to kind of get some information on her because I'm a new hockey fan, let alone a new women's hockey fan. So I wasn't sure kind of her background, but yeah, so that's a little impromptu girl power right there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, one
Hope
more
that
thing.
opens doors
Sorry.
for more things.
Because Mom sent me this. This is Mom. Shout out to Mom.
Oh, Doreen, I love your shirt. Release the Kraken. Okay.
Release the Kraken. So she
Love
was
it.
ready for the draft. She was watching.
Cute.
We both got a kick out of Sean Kemp's medium shirt. And yeah, it was interesting. Definitely
Yeah, the list
interesting.
long.
Other hot topics. Maria Taylor and ESPN split. They could not couldn't come to agreement for a contract. No, apparently she had been offered about $5 million supposedly last year. She didn't want to negotiate the time. They offered her $3 million. She currently gets $1 million. She said no.
Okay.
And from the sounds of it, sounds like NBC is going to pick her up.
Well, that's good.
So if she signs with them, she'll also be part of the Olympic coverage, most likely, as well as part of NBC's football night in America. So I'll be happy to see her doing some football commentary then. That'll be pretty interesting. Whether it be sideline or in the booth, that should be interesting. So happy for her. I'm not going to lie, I probably would have taken $5 million earlier in the year, but hey, what can you do?
I mean, ESPN has been kind of foul anyway, so go where your heart is and be happy.
Exactly. Follow your heart and be happy. And so, yeah, hopefully this is a great new things to come for her. Speaking of ESPN, though, for someone that had stepped up in a major way, Malika Andrews. I don't know if you guys caught Malika. Obviously, this was her very first NBA Finals covering. She's 26 years old, so the same age as Giannis getting his first trophy is the first year that she's on the sidelines for the NBA Finals. She also was is the youngest person to host the NBA Finals trophy ceremony.
That's great.
And she killed it. No flubs, no, stuttering like myself.
She knew what she was doing. She
did all
the assignment.
that.
She was a beast at what she does. It was never appreciated, and now we get to see her highlighted. No, it's great. She was amazing. For what I caught, the glimpse of, she did her job. So yeah,
she had been raved and reviewed. I mean, people were ranting and raving for her all last night. I mean, she looked like a veteran out there, really. Besides it being her first time, you'd think she was doing it for so long.
Oh, no, she was ready.
Yeah,
she's been ready.
I was super excited to hear that.
She got highlighted for that.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to Miss Bollandy. No dumb questions here either. Exactly, because I heard from the grapevine that other person at ESPN had a few dumb questions during the post game interviews. So we'll just leave that one alone.
No comment.
No comment. So what about, let's see, we've got the latest, most likely hiring would be Willie Green, the Suns assistant, going to the Pelicans as a head coach. This would make the 7th African-American head coach spot out of the 8 that were open this year. So that'd be a 13 out of 30 for next season, which is a complete difference from last season. A lot of people have been begging and wanting this to happen. So I'm happy to see that there's being more representation in the head coaching spots within the NBA. Let's see if there's more, because clearly if these guys are doing it, why not, get some more guys that are, have the qualifications, can win games. Let's not keep circling around the same guys over and over and over again.
They need to do that with all the sports, honestly.
Well, yeah, football too, for sure. Exactly, Kente. No need to say her name on the show. What was my other hot topic? Oh, Space Jam. Did you watch it yet?
No, that was on my to-do list. I've been so busy and I slept all day today. I didn't really get a chance to. I'm catching up on my rest here. Did not get a chance to see it. I've heard the reviews on some people. We'll talk about it next week. Just save it for next week.
Okay.
I'll have it. ready.
All
But
right.
I know
All
it's
right.
that kid. It's this kid's generation type film. I know a
I
lot of
get
us
it.
are
It's
still
all
with the Jordan thing.
technology thing, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
had
mean, I
its
like the
bells and
shoes.
whistles.
Don't get me wrong. I like the shoes that rolled out for it to promote it. I definitely like those 6s. You know, I would love to get my hands on it. I like the Converse editions. We talked about that. Like, I like all of that goes with it. But again, it's a kids movie. Let the kids have their thing. I'm not going to take that away from them. I will watch it though, and then give you my.
I mean, I
my
still
input.
wasn't a kid when the first one came out, so.
But it's different because it was Jordan. Okay, like we didn't have anybody in their time that was, you know, we didn't have the CGI like they do now. We didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? That's always going to be a classic nostalgia for us.
Yeah.
But these kids
Well,
of this
it did have
generation
funny
need something
parts. It
too.
had funny parts. And I mean, it was entertaining, you know, but I'm not going to lie. I watched the first one right afterwards just to make sure I wasn't tripping and thinking that I didn't like the second
I
one
mean,
that much.
hey, I felt some type of way that new Coming to America. So no telling what I'm going to say when I see this. So
Most definitely. Tom Brady and the Bucks went to the White House.
Yes,
had
I saw
a
that.
couple little jokes on the side, of course, because he mentioned that 40% of the country still doesn't believe that we won. And he looked over to President Biden. And of course, you know how that feels. And President Biden, yeah, I know how that feels. Because of course, there's 40% of the country, maybe even more, that still don't believe that President Biden has won is our president for this year. So shout out to Tom Brady.
Also called him Sleepy Tom.
Yeah.
Then I've been called Sleepy Tom, like Sleepy Joe.
He said, "Yeah, there was a time in Chicago when I forgot a play, and people call me Sleepy Joe." And I was like, "So Tom came with the funnies at the White House on one of his many trips there."
Yeah, he's used to this. Used to this life.
All right, so I got some sneakers. Here's the deal: me and Mo both bombed on these. So if there's a connect out there,
that's what happened. I totally.
I was up.
I woke up, it was
Listen,
8:00 in the morning, and I looked at my phone, and I'm like, oh no.
Listen, I had one on reserve for a 7 in men's as well as a 7 in youth, and both of them I could not get. I was like,
how are you able to wear a grade school 7?
Because it's the same as men's 7.
Oh,
it's 8.5 in women's. 7 is 8.5 women's.
Oh, I do a 9, but I mean, I do an 8.5 men's or
no. Oh, I don't know how Mo's phone. Maybe she puts me on a timer or something, and it says time to get off the podcast with Mel. So we've lost Mo. I'll continue on for a little bit. Go through some of our shoes here because I don't know if anyone caught. Oh, hang on. There we go.
Me on a timer.
I was thinking like, am I on a timer or something?
It does. It always has me on a timer. Always wants to.
But it hasn't even been the full hour yet either, too. So I don't know.
I don't know why it wants to kick me out.
That's so crazy. I'm just going to start planning for it now. But I was talking about PJ Tucker's Air Jordan specially custom that he had for Game 6
with a stamp croc on.
What's the guy's name? I forgot his name.
Shoe surgeon?
Write down. Yes, the shoe surgeon. 32.74 carats in these suckers.
Wait, those are diamonds on that swoosh?
Yes, those are diamonds on the swoosh and whatever is up here on top. I don't know what that is on
the
top.
Tag.
Yeah, the tag. 32 carats.
They're Crocs.
Man, I know PJ Tucker's shoe house is large.
Those shoes are beautiful, but I'm not putting dusted diamonds on those swoosh. That's just me, but it's nice.
So here's one that's coming. I'm not a huge Adidas fan, but the Adidas Forum 84 high Lakers dropping in the next couple of months. They're trying to bring back
very retro.
Super retro. I can see a lot of the millennials out here trying to rock these for sure. They're cute. They actually look kind of like something that I probably wore during my basketball days. I think they were like LA Gear maybe or something, but yeah, the super high. That's what it was in back then.
You wore LA Gear?
I wore LA Gear.
I never wore LA Gear.
I did. I had LA Gears.
I never wore it.
From Big Five.
Popular, but I never wore it.
Those are some of my very first basketball shoes were LA Gears with the 2 Velcros on top.
I never had a pair.
Yeah. But the other one, I think we talked about this briefly last week, was the Dunk High and the Ambush Flames.
Yes.
Come out on July 30th.
Yeah, I like the pink ones too that are tonal with the swoosh that's on StockX. But I do like those green ones too.
Yeah.
I could go for those.
Then you also got the Nike SB Para Dunk Lows, July 31st.
We're not getting
I'm
any
not
of
big
these
on
shoes
those.
because Vietnam shut down both of their Nike factories. So that just limits our time of getting any
Is
type of
that what's
shoe.
going on?
Well, they just announced it. So Vietnam factories of Nike are shutting down due to COVID measures. And so they're not going to be mass producing any shoes for a while. Any shoes that we do get, I don't know where they're going to be sourced from. But that just lowers our chances. I mean,
Wow.
even more so. The second resale on some of these ambushes, even a resale on those ones that you posted, they're not a bad price point.
It's
I mean, they're
not.
still
The orange
affordable
ones
to
are still
get.
out there.
You
Yeah.
can still get them, and it's not gonna hurt your wallet too badly. So it's one of those things I could decide.
It's on my radar. It's on my radar on StockX.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
I got
If anybody
some
has a
stickers I don't
coupon
even
code
wear.
for StockX they want to share, feel free. I'm down.
Right, no lie. But I don't know. I've got
I
sneakers I don't even wear. It's like, what's the point at this point? I always say I'm going to give up, and then I see a nice sneaker, and I'm like, oh my God, I want
I
those,
can't give
but
up.
I don't even wear
I
them.
slow down, but they're still there because I mean, there's always an outfit. You know, I'm always going to match it with something and have it out.
I don't wear any casualization at work. That's the problem. I mean, I work all the time, and even on my nighttime, I'm dressed up. So it's like, when do I have time to really wear my kicks like I want to? I guess sometimes I have to do a photo shoot or something.
I just wear them. I wear them.
Well, you have a casual lifestyle. You can do that. I can't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even wear J's to work. I have to wear.
Well, wear them to the games. We'll wear the games that you cover. You know,
a couple games here and there, but it's, whatever. It's not the same. I need it in a lifestyle. Okay. I need it to be incorporated in my lifestyle some kind of way. If anybody can know how you can balance that to wear, like, I'm at home. Why would I put on my heavy J's?
Yeah, no, I can't wear J's at home, and I can barely wear J's in the heat. Like,
it's too hot. That's another thing. It's so hot right now.
But it's perfect in the fall.
In the fall, yeah.
Especially out here because there's not a lot of rain or snow, so you don't got to mess them up. You're just walking in the dryness, and it's just like a cool.
I saw a colleague with some Concord 11s last night at work, and I was like, "How did you wear those all day?" She's like, "They're comfortable." I was like, "I don't see how you do it. I never could wear my J's at work and last a whole day in my shift on my feet in J's. None of them."
J's, I mean, I don't know. The ones I have fit fine.
My
I think
Maxes
when I wore
okay, but not those.
Some Maxes be driving me crazy after too long.
Yes, because I have a high arch in the instep. So again, it's like you just need a comfortable shoe. Or my feet are old. I just can't do it. I don't know.
Seasoned. Your feet are seasoned, Mo. Your feet are seasoned.
They're old.
For everybody out here in Las Vegas, or if you're on your way to Vegas, the Las Vegas Lights, our USL soccer team, we haven't mentioned them as much because there's been so much else going on, but don't forget about them. They have a home game on Tuesday. And for Taco Tuesday, for only $20, you get a general admission ticket, you get 3 street tacos, and you get a tall boy of Estrella beer.
Ooh, Quan would like that.
Listen, $20, tacos, beer, and soccer. You really can't beat that. And on Tuesday night, so that you don't have an excuse. Make it happen.
Great. Those Lights games go hard. I have yet to go to a Lights game. I'm so.
I may try and go this time on Tuesday because finally we're on a break. There's not a whole lot of things happening, and maybe that's one thing that I can get out there and do and try.
You gotta go and represent on the Lights game. Man. Sure. Those Lights games go hard, and they're doing really well this season too. Yeah, I haven't got any insight with the players and the coaching and anything, but anybody know about those Lights, they know that they bring it, and they always bring a great crowd too. So it's truly amazing.
Oh man, let me see if I can find it. Last minute, there was a girl power I had, and I had a picture, but of course, I don't think I put it up there. So I'm trying to.
We already did a girl power. Let's go.
Now there's another one.
Who we got?
Well, we did Malika. We did, but this is amazing just because in the history of Major League Baseball, this was the first all-female broadcast team on Tuesdays, awesome. Orioles versus Rays game. We got Melanie Newman, Sarah Lang, on-field reporter Alana Rizzo, and then there was 2 other girls that were doing the post-game show.
That is
This is the first time an all-women's broadcast team covered a baseball game. So we're talking the Orioles and the Rays on Tuesday night. I just might have to go to like YouTube or DVR, find something there I can rewatch that because I think that's just amazing.
It is amazing. It is.
So that's my last girl power for tonight.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. Once again, thank you to our guest, Amber Rodriquez. You can follow her at the #1, Amber Rodriquez, #1 So one, Amber Rodriquez. And also, of course, which I didn't do in the beginning of the show, so let me just do it now. Shout out to the sponsor again. House of Paws. Make sure you check them out. Tilly and Shug's favorite spot for sure. 1750 North Buffalo Drive, Suite 103, over on Vegas and Buffalo here in Las Vegas.
House of Paws, man.
Yes. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Make sure you go follow Hood Hobby 206 as well for all your sports cards. He even has he was doing the Marvel Comics cards. I didn't even know those really existed. So I was, I guess cards are the big thing. Marvel, like the Marvel comic.
I know. What kind of Marvel cards?
You got to look on
like
his
Wolverine or stuff like that?
Yeah, different. Yeah.
Spider-Man?
I know they had all those, but they do. So check him out too on YouTube. Subscribe. He's got some cool stuff for sale. And I heard that the whole card game is like a huge investment thing now. Like instead of just like stocks and even the NFTs, like people are really into collecting these baseball cards and the old, basketball cards.
Hasn't
and
that
stuff
always
like
been
that.
the thing though?
Kind of, but I don't think it had as much value as it does today. Maybe. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Baseball cards be going for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that'll never change.
I don't
Who
think
bet on the Suns, by the way? Was there any crazy bets or anything that people lost a ton of money on that we know about or no?
I didn't see any major one. I know Bob Memory was out here. He collected a big chunk of change from Dana White, but I don't know if that was related to the Suns game or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways, you guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks for all the love. Make sure to share, to comment, subscribe, go to the YouTube, subscribe, hit us up, and make sure you check us out next week. Got another show lined up for you Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern. So shout it out. Thanks, Mo. It's good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, Mel.
Bye, guys.
You guys have a good week. Bye.